I want to showcase the fact that Canada produces some of the best combat athletes in the world, bar none. Not compared to anybody else, compared to everybody else. We have the best athletes on earth, and I want to show it. I've put together 4 teams, any one of which could have a night where they win. Any one of which could show up, because it's not individuals against individuals. It's a team versus team environment. I've watched these play out now long enough that the team that applies the best strategy and has the best grapplers is the team that's going to win. Here's the way I see this breaking down. I think TriStar has probably the biggest names, the most notoriety. Detroit is packed with killers that want to prove it. Killers that want to prove it. I've competed against David Garmo, a world-class grappler. I competed against him at purple belt. He's a black belt now. He's competed for Sakuraba on his quintet event. He's got a lot of experience in this format. Khalil Al-Fadala, phenomenal black belt, phenomenal international competitor. You look at Cicero Costa. Cicero Costa, I talked to them last night. They haven't released their full team. They have 2 purple belt world champions that didn't make the team. That didn't make the team because they're too good. Or sorry, they're not good enough. So that tells you right there the type of quality. Cicero Costa has a bunch of Brazilians, bunch of Brazilian world champions, bunch of Brazilian Pan Am champs, bunch of Brazilian national champions. They've got a real depth of jiu-jitsu players. They're one of the top 3 or 4 teams on earth regularly at the IBJJF Worlds. And 10th Planet Montreal is probably the dark horse in this. They're probably the ones that on paper look like they have the smallest chance. They have the most amount of experience in this style. They have more than anybody else I've ever dealt with. Those guys actively seek out the best competition that they can find. Actively seek it out. And they don't get discouraged or nervous or anxious when they go up against the best. They're pumped. They're excited. When I've been showing, like when I've been releasing the teams to each other, 10th Planet was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't wait. As a promoter, I try to put on compelling matches, but with this one, really, all I did was I looked at what I want to see. I looked at what I think would be really cool to be there watching, and I tried to set up that card, and it's coming together, man. It's cool. This is why I'm not counting them out, man. In our last event, 10th Planet beat Novunyao, very tightly contested match. It was 5 draws, and then the match was decided in an EBI overtime between Corey Guittard and one of the Sims brothers. Phenomenal athletes as well. I competed against those guys too. Just killers. I thought when I saw the 10th Planet was bringing some purple belts on their team, some smaller guys, I was like, shit. I don't want anybody to get embarrassed. I don't want anybody to get smashed. And I know Novunyao is 5 murderous black belts. Igor Maciber, the Sims brothers. Who's the other 2 guys that they had? They just killers. And 10th Planet played the strategic game. They played a strategic game, and they were threatening submissions all over the place. They're a very, very compelling team, and they showed me everything I need to see to be impressed and to be confident in their skills. If you want to get a look at the quintet format and actually see a pretty exciting demonstration of submission skill, the quintet match between Straight Blast Gym and Body of 4 was cool. One of Straight Blast Gym's guys had beaten one of Body of 4's guys on our first event, and the guy from Body of 4 was butthurt about it. He's like, I was a little bit out of shape. I didn't take this seriously enough. His name's Rhino Monty, and he's actually on this card. He's actually on this card. So he lost an EBI overtime on the first card to a Straight Blast Gym guy, and he really showed up. He really showed up. So Luke Roberts submitted a guy, then went to a draw. So 2 guys from Straight Blast Gym are eliminated. Rhino Monty went through and bang, submitted 3 guys in a row. It was put one of their athletes to sleep. Really impressive. And that's the cool thing about Quintet. It gives you these opportunities it's like hitting a home run and then getting to go back and bat again and hit another home run. Like, it's just cool where you see quality athletes taking those types of opportunities. And on the first card, there were some really cool matches. Sam Yoss and Carlos Rios. Those are 2 brown belts, good athletes, and man, they left it on the mat. I like it. Back and forth. Sometimes you see a draw, or sometimes you see EBI overtime, and it's like a draw in an MMA fight. It's like, ugh, I wanted to see a finish. These guys left it on the mat. It was cool. So I would check out either one of those, and the links are all connected to our YouTube channel. There's a few different things that I'm working on. I really enjoy the quintet format. I really enjoy the no-gi submission only format. In terms of crossing over wrestling and jiu-jitsu, I'm thinking about it. That's a little less compelling to me, because what ends up happening in my mind is you don't get a good look at who's the better jiu-jitsu athlete or wrestling athlete. You get a look at who's able to game rules better based on their skill set, which, I mean, fine, that's cool too, but that's less compelling. What I am interested in doing is bringing combat jiu-jitsu to Ontario. Now, combat jiu-jitsu, if for the people watching that don't know, it adds strikes, open hand strikes, to the grounded part of jiu-jitsu, and the idea is that you're able to hold people accountable the same way that you can hold them accountable in MMA. And it's an interesting sport. It's an interesting sport. I don't know if there is a market for it, but I know that, for instance, my business partner, Lyndon Whitlock, I think could be a world champion at combat jiu-jitsu. He's very, very good at MMA. He's a black belt under me in jiu-jitsu, but where he really shines is grappling for MMA. When you put him on the ground with strikes involved, he's able to blend punching and attacking and passing and submissions in a way that is very, very hard to deal with. So I'd love to showcase his skill set and give more athletes in the province an opportunity to compete in that type of hybrid. We're all martial artists. We probably all love fighting. Wrestlers love MMA. And at the root of what we're doing, we're all grapplers. We all live the same life. We all have broken ears. We all we all have to understand what ringworm is and deal with that. We all develop the same connections and friendships. We develop the same community on the mat. Whether you're a wrestler, whether you're a judo player, whether you're a judoka, or whether you wear the gi or not, we are all grapplers. And I want to start bringing those communities together. There's way more similarities than there are differences, and what we end up with at the end of the day is a stronger wrestling community, a stronger jiu-jitsu community, a stronger cross-pollinated group of like-minded martial artists that supplement and grow each other's skills. It's the best case scenario for the province, for me, for my athletes, for you. It's why I'm committing this much work to it. This is cool as hell. I want people coming to me and say, what do I have to do to get on this card? Like, what do I have to do to be able to compete alongside the best Canadian grapplers in the world right now? It's not just best Canadian grapplers. Flow Grappling called Ethan the most dangerous brown belt on earth, bar none. I want to showcase the fact that Canada produces some of the best combat athletes in the world, bar none. Not compared to anybody else, compared to everybody else. We have the best athletes on earth, and I want to show it. Working on it. Kyle Dake is somebody that I would love to bring in. I mean, there's a ton of great, just amazing university and national level wrestlers in the States that are a 4 or 5 hour drive away. Pennsylvania, Penn State, Cornell produce some really high level people. I'd love to get them on a card. We have some phenomenal sponsors. Under the Gi is a local community company. They make our rash guards. Everything is local. They hire local people. They make this in their home. The only thing that they do that isn't local, the material that they use for the rash guards and the singlets is plastics pulled out of the ocean. So they buy that internationally. I love a company like that. Local as much as possible to make a positive global impact. Skintrick Tattoos, they've done this work on me. They've done a lot of the work on my business partners. They did a tattoo for my dad and I together. I said this at the event. They are more like family than they are sponsors. They're involved with us. We're involved with them. We support each other. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention them. And then local community companies, High Rollers, really good people. They want to support the community. Fight Supply, Mike Yank, again, at every tournament. You guys have all seen him. He's at every single tournament, every single event. He doesn't get, I think, a huge pat on the back, but that's real support. That's real support being there all the time. Same thing with Fighters Market, Jeff Santos. I feel like they're involved with this because they're fans. The genuine fans. I was talking to him about the people on the card, and he's pumped. That's cool. TriStar brought on a company from the States called Roll Forever. A wonderful woman named Betty. Her mandate is we should all do jiu-jitsu forever, for as long as we can. So she found out that my dad, who's 71, is a purple belt under me and still does jiu-jitsu. So she's sending him a rash guard just because she likes that. Like that's connected to her. She's awesome. She really is supportive of the TriStar guys. We got a great local beer called Post Game Brewing. Again, one of the other things that I'm trying to do is not just build a jiu-jitsu and wrestling community, but build a community. So the Post Game Brewing, the guy that owns Post Game Brewing went to high school with Josh Hill. Sponsored Josh in one of his fights. They're on our year-long sponsor. They've got great beer. He drove from his house to the venue to drop it off for us. That's cool too, right? And it's a great beer, and it's a really solid beer. So we're so fortunate to have the sponsors that we do, and then have the people involved that we do.